If you're thinking about taking a cruise that visits Japan, there are some surprising things that can make or break your trip. And most cruisers have no idea what to expect. See, the cruise lines don't tell you just how different a cruise to this region really is. But we will today. And by the end of this video, you're going to know lots about cultural differences, a weird thing that might happen to your passport when you cruise to Japan, and lots of little details that are super easy to overlook. I'm Sherry with CruiseTipsTV, and I have made it my mission to help cruisers like you travel smarter. Now, Japan is probably our family's favorite travel destination, but it comes with a few surprises you're going to definitely want to be ready for. After visiting Japan by cruise ship several times over the years, here are the 20 things I wish that I had known before cruising to this beautiful area. This stuff is really going to help you fit in, observe Japanese customs, and have the best cruise you possibly can. And be sure to stick around to the end for bonus packing tips that are going to help you out too. Number one, so important, you guys. You gotta fly in early when you're visiting Japan. If you're flying from afar, like US or Europe, do not even think about arriving the same day your cruise departs. Flight delays and cancellations happen often in this world of travel, and cruise ships will not wait if you miss embarkation. So arriving a day or two early, or even more, gives you time to adjust, recover from that nasty jet lag, and also explore Tokyo, Yokohama, the beautiful portside area near your cruise ship terminal, or even Osaka before you set sail. Last time we went to Japan, we had a 2-day flight delay, and we are so glad we booked our flight a couple of days early. Also, before your cruise, you're going to want to download the Visit Japan web app. Everybody in your party needs their own QR code for entry, but you can do it in one app on one phone. You just have to do each person separately. So Visit Japan Web is basically like your all-in-one entry portal where you pre-fill your immigration, your customs, and your tax-free shopping details so you can kind of breeze through the airport when you land. And believe me, after that long flight, you're going to be ready to breeze through. So I have a question for you. Have you ever missed a cruise because of a flight delay? You got to drop me a comment below if that's happened to you. Number two, this one shocks people. Expect to surrender your passport. When cruising Japan, most cruise lines collect your passport for customs processing, and you might not get it back for a few days or even longer. So cruise lines do this because Japan processes the ship as a whole. They don't just process individual travelers. So the cruise line hands over all of the passports to immigration so they can pre-clear the entire vessel before anybody gets off. I know it's weird, I know it's different, but it actually speeds up the inspection process and avoids having thousands of people stand in long immigration lines. So expect that you might have to surrender your passport. It's totally normal. Now, the cruise line's probably going to give you a photocopy or a digital copy of your passport, but I recommend you take a photo of it or take a printed copy of it before you fly over to Japan so you can take it with you when you go ashore. Like I said, cruise line's probably going to give you a copy of it, but preparing with your own before you leave home is super smart because you're going to need some form of ID when you go ashore. Number three, all right, you guys have heard this one before. I promise you've heard this. Do not tip. Tipping is not a part of Japanese culture, and in some cases, it can be totally awkward or rude. Instead, say, arigato gozaimasu, thank you very much, with a polite little bow and move on. Great service is expected and is built into the culture with no extra cash or tipping required. So were you surprised that tipping is considered rude in Japan? I definitely was, and it was such a culture shock the first time I went there, but now I'm used to it, and of course I honor that custom. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. Number four, you just gotta experience sail away out on the open decks when you go to Japan. Do not skip getting out on deck when you pull into in the morning or out of a port in the evening. Not just on embarkation day, you guys. This is in every single port you visit. See, what's going to happen is the locals will often gather, they'll come down by the ship, and they're going to wave hello and goodbye to you. Sometimes they will bring their families, flags, pets, posters. It is the most magical thing, and you might even catch some dancers or musicians down there as well. There's marching bands, there's musical performances. We have seen so many amazing things, and sometimes they'll even bring the musicians on board for you to perform in the theater. This is something we just love about cruising to Japan, and I think you're going to as well. In fact, you guys, honestly, sometimes I get emotional out there. Seeing the smiles on the locals' faces, you just have to experience it to see what I mean, but it is really moving. So, what do you do on sail away? Do you head up to the upper decks? Do you watch from your balcony? You're gonna have to let me know. All right, let's talk about money for a bit. While credit cards are totally fine at major retailers and they're widely accepted in general, in Japan, it's still kind of a cash based society. So, some of the smaller shops and restaurants just don't take cards. You're going to want to carry plenty of yen and plenty of coins for vending machines and train stations. To get cash, it's actually pretty easy. You can go to ATMs, they even have them at 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Lawson, and not all the banks accept foreign cards. So just go to the convenience store and use their ATMs. We do it all the time. Or stop by the ATM in the airport right when you arrive. That's also something that we do often. And you're going to see a lot of people who are flying in doing that because they know that they can get that cash and have it ready right when they're trying to hit that public transportation. You should also know in Japan, it is customary to place cash or your credit card on the small tray at the counter instead of handing it directly to the cashier. Sometimes the cashier will start this process for you. You'll see how it goes when you get there, but it is a little bit different, especially if you're not accustomed to having the cash placed on this little tray, but they don't handle the money with their hands. They pass it back and forth. Same goes with a credit card. Finally, when it comes to money, make sure that you download some kind of a currency conversion app so you know what stuff really costs. And you can also bring a small little coin organizer. I discovered this thing when I got home from Japan, and I wish I would have had it because I felt like I was swimming in coins. They were like falling down in the bottom of my purse. This thing is great, and you're going to love it. Number 6. I had no idea when I first cruised to Japan, and the cruise lines certainly did not tell me that trash would be my responsibility pretty much all day, every day when I was on shore. This feels so weird, you guys, but large public trash cans are rare in Japan. So what you're going to want to do is carry a small bag for your garbage until you find a proper place to dispose of it. Maybe something you brought from home, like a little grocery bag or something, or even a little produce bag. Just slip it in your purse and take it with you. Sometimes that means that you have to wait till you get back on the ship to dispose of it, or wait until you find a garbage can. Just tuck it away in a pocket or purse until you can find one. And always make sure, if the opportunity presents itself, and you do see trash cans, make sure you sort your garbage correctly. They have burnable plastic bottles. You even will take the lids off of your bottles and put them in a certain area. Now, you're going to see lots of signs on trash cans indicating how it works, but you guys, the Japanese people are so friendly. You could always ask them for help if you don't understand this process. Japanese people take so much pride in cleanliness, and if you jump on board with this process, it is a gesture that shows you really care about their culture, the cleanliness of their country, and let me tell you, it is so important to them. Number 7, you might want to consider staying connected with an eSIM. As you all know, ship Wi-Fi can be a pain. It can be slow, pricey. So instead, maybe download an eSIM before your trip and it'll activate in every port. Now, what we do as an alternative to an eSIM is we check to see if our carrier offers an international plan. And we have AT&T's International Day Pass, and we only pay for it the days that we use data in ports. And I kind of love it because I have my normal service and it just works for me. I'm curious what kind of connectivity you use when you're traveling internationally. I love hearing about people's solutions. Number 8, there's actually some very interesting shoe etiquette in Japan. Of course, the major cruise lines that sail in Japan, they don't expect you to remove your shoes in venues around the cruise ship. You don't have to worry about that. But on land, you're going to need to remove your shoes in temples, shrines, traditional restaurants, and some of the more traditional hotels. Some places will offer slippers, but never, ever, ever wear slippers that they give to you on tatami mats. It's a small gesture that shows big respect. When in doubt, just follow the signs on this. Number 9, we got to talk about transportation because I got to tell you guys, trains and buses in Japan, they're spotless, they're efficient, they are always on time, literally to the minute in Japan. So we highly recommend you try out the public transportation while you're there to whatever degree you want to. But if you do venture out by train on a port day on your own, make sure you build in lots of extra time to get back to the ship, because if you miss your train, you might miss the cruise ship. But the public transpo is amazing, so be sure you try it out. Oh, and as you're leaving the ship, snap a photo of the port info sign before you head out. Usually they have it kind of on the gangway or even in the ship, and that way you can show it to the taxi driver to help get your way back. Speaking of taxis, you guys, you got to know your taxi etiquette in Japan. Taxis are everywhere in Japan, and they're wonderful. They're clean, they're quiet. Oftentimes they're super luxurious too. They look like little mini limos. Most of them are metered, most of them take credit cards, but you might want to confirm that they take credit card right when you get in, and most of them understand if you say, "Do you take credit card?" The one thing though that really surprised us the first time we visited Japan is that when you enter and exit a taxi, you do not open the door yourself. The driver will do it automatically. It's actually like built into the taxis. It's kind of a uniquely Japanese thing, and you're gonna come to love it. But it feels weird at first not to grab and open your own door. Just trust me here. Number 11, convenience stores and vending machines are so much fun in Japan. You gotta try them out. You've never seen convenience stores like these, especially in the US. 7-Eleven, Lawson, and Family Mart, you guys, they sell all kinds of meals like fresh sushi, bento boxes, fried chicken. You can even get beer, cocktails, spirits. You just have to check this out. It's insane, all the stuff that you're going to find in the fridge cases. Breakfast type stuff like hard-boiled eggs, rolls, beautiful Japanese cuisine. The thing is, they're super cheap, they're authentic, and they are perfect pre-excursion snacks, drinks, and coffee. You could literally live on the food out of these convenience stores in Japan, and it's really fun to try it. Oh, and do not forget, you guys, the vending machines in Japan are so amazing. You can get coffee, you can get ice cream, sometimes even ramen, but mostly it's like unique drinks, water, sodas. In fact, there's so many vending machines, we usually don't even take much water, if any, off the ship with us because we can buy it anywhere. You can get it in a parking lot at a museum, a shrine, just about every street corner. So just take some coins with you and be ready to shop those little vending machines because it is so much fun. My son, he loves getting like special coffee drinks and desserts and things like that at the vending machines. In fact, they even have them in the cruise terminal. Especially the Osanbashi terminal down in Yokohama, for sure has vending machines inside the terminal, many of them, and it's really fun. So which Japanese convenience store or vending machine snack would you try first? All right, number 13. There's a lot more to say about etiquette in Japan. In Japan, remember that mindfulness is everything, and there are some things that they just do not do out of common courtesy. You don't want to be eating while walking. You don't want to eat in a taxi cab or in any kind of public transport. And you want to keep your voice low in public spaces and on trains. At temples and shrines, remember, if directed, remove your shoes when required, bow respectfully, and keep that noise to a minimum. These little gestures, they mean a lot. So if you've traveled to Japan, let us know if there were any etiquette customs that surprised you. Number 14, you guys, summer heat in Japan is no joke. In fact, I think it might be the hottest place I've ever traveled. And just for reference, I live in Texas. It gets hot. If you're cruising in summer, expect serious heat and humidity. You're going to find that the locals carry umbrellas and even handheld fans, neck fans for shade and cooling. You're definitely going to want to take a refillable water bottle or plenty of water to stay hydrated, or grab them from those vending machines, which, as we mentioned, are everywhere. Number 15, souvenirs and shopping in Japan are the best. I was going to say you should leave some space in your suitcase, but I'm going to scratch that and say just pack an entire extra suitcase. You're going to want to shop. The shopping is incredible. There's traditional crafts, there's beautiful clothing, handbags, vintage handbags, quirky snacks, candies, souvenirs. Every prefecture you visit, it is going to blow you away. Even right outside the cruise ships, you're going to see little shopping areas and you're going to love it. So yeah, take some kind of a small collapsible suitcase if you can. It's part of the adventure. Number 16, all right, this is just straight up fun, you guys, but the high-tech toilets in Japan, they're a thing. It is way true. What you've heard about the toilets is true and probably even better than you thought. They are next level. heated seats, bidets, and even sound effects, you're gonna find those in public toilets like at the mall. And these public toilets are clean, free, and plentiful. You're gonna see a lot of people maintaining them, keeping them clean, and it's a real treat, so treat them with respect. Oh, and you're gonna wanna keep a small hand towel with you. Paper towels are not always provided in Japan. In fact, they typically are not provided at all. And they sell these beautiful hand towels everywhere. You're going to notice that almost all of the locals carry them, men, women, and even children. Number 17, this one shocked me. You're going to want to keep your attraction tickets. And here's what happens. You're going to proceed potentially through your first portion of your attraction, like go down a ropeway. The natural inclination would be to throw away your ticket, right? But do not do that. Some places like these ropeways, temples, and shrines require you to show your ticket multiple times as you move through the exhibits or whatever. So keep it with you until you're completely done exploring that area. Number 18, you gotta know that the seasonal travel periods, the high periods over in Japan equal massive crowds. So cherry blossom season, which is like March and April, depending on where you're at, and that autumn leaf season, October, November-ish, are beautiful, but they're also really busy. So you're going to want to book your excursions early or consider cruising in May or maybe even like late September for fewer crowds and better prices. December's also great too. Just be ready for warmer or wetter weather during those off-peak months and do your research. Number 19, this is the most important tip I can leave you with today, you guys. You gotta leave room for magic. Japan kind of rewards curiosity and respect, whether it's watching a local family wave goodbye at Sail Away or discovering a tiny ramen shop down a quiet street. Just slow down a little bit and take it in. I think that's where the best memories happen. Now, you'll remember that I promised you guys some bonus packing reminders. We talked about the weather. Expect that that weather is going to change drastically by season. In the summer, you're going to want to go totally light and breathable. In fall or winter, some layers, a jacket, some rain protection. But no matter when you go, bring super comfortable walking shoes. You're probably going to walk a lot and often on uneven ground. But regardless of season, here are some things that you definitely need to pack with you. An umbrella, a cooling fan, some kind of a universal travel adapter is absolutely key. And if your cruise ends in another place like South Korea or Singapore, make sure you get an adapter for that hotel that you might be staying in. Also, do not forget to pack a hat. You're also going to want a lightweight day pack for those excursions or a little lightweight bag. And like I mentioned earlier, a refillable water bottle is good for on the ship and off the ship, and comfortable broken-in shoes. So yeah, get that backpack. You're gonna have a lot of souvenirs. You're probably gonna come back from every single port day with more stuff than you left with, like fancy fun snacks that you found at a convenience store. So there you have it, friends. These are the 20 things I wish I had known before my first cruise in Japan. I want to know which tip surprised you the most. Drop me a comment below. I absolutely love hearing from all of you. It's so much fun. And if you are planning a Japan cruise, please be sure to check out our Japan cruise playlist for more insider tips and hacks and must-see experiences. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe before you go so you never miss another one of our videos. Arigatou gozaimasu, and we'll see you on the high seas.